electrical current that shoots from your brain to your spinal cord to your finger to snap your finger to the music. There's information in that electrical current. So which means that electrical current is the same electrical current as in everywhere. And so that information is traveling through that electrical current. It's almost like an instantaneous thing. So I think that electricity in this same form of fashion with the brain, with the mind, is being utilized a little bit differently because it that it's in the electrical current. And I don't know, I don't know if I'm quite saying that the way I should say it, but it's a little different. And sound, I mean light, and I'm gonna conclude. And light definitely is a vibration or a movement of particles. You know what I mean? So I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah, but I don't
Okay.
think you possesses those electrical currents that you're
Hold
talking
on, hold
about.
on, Divine. Hold on,
No,
Terry. Divine had it.
he's fine. I can be patient. He's new on the panel. Let
Okay,
him go ahead.
cool.
Yeah, so your
I
human
think we need a
brain.
commercial because you guys are doing so well.
Hold on.
Divine, you can
No,
take a
go ahead. Go
Divine.
ahead.
Go ahead, give us a commercial, Divine.
No, no, no. I'm gonna let the brother speak. The brother was
Okay,
speaking.
okay.
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I was saying that, our physical or the physical part of the reality we live in itself, including vibrations, whether it's low, it's on the lower frequency or on the higher frequency. All these things are physical and somehow expresses itself within, the three dimensions of space and time that we kind of live in. So I think the electricity thing that the electrical charges thing that God Buddy was talking about, that's the only language your body actually understands. So the world we live in is vibrational, and for you to actually receive information from the world, your skin needs to receive this waveform information, which we call the vibrational information, convert them into what we call electrical information, and then your senses then takes them and then move them through your spinal cord, and then your brain actually interpret them as neural, information, create holographic images which helps the brain to basically understand or know what actually is going on around. So I think that the the conscious apprehendals that humans we use in perceiving the world, can't be anywhere far from the physical. And that's why I was asking if you're differentiating the mind from the brain and saying that the mind existed before the brain, which is a possibility, but do we have any form of like evidence to actually back that up? Because the mind, even for you to perceive information from the environment, you most definitely need your brain. So that was why I was asking the question earlier on. Jesus, maybe you want to respond.
Bro, that's why I was getting it to you. I got 1,000 different scenarios. Like, it's another woman that drowned, right? And she was underwater for 30 minutes. That means she was unconsciously dead for 30 minutes. When they brung that lady back to life, she told about being above the water where she drowned at, watching the helicopter come, the rescue team pull her out of the water, and then working on her until she regained consciousness. She said she watched it until the moment she regained consciousness, she found herself not over the whole situation watching it, but back in her body looking out of her normal eyes. There's thousands of cases, they call them near death experiences. And the only way for these people to have a near death experience is that the mind and the brain is totally disconnected. Just like your spirit disconnects from your body when you die. I believe that your mind resides in your spirit. And when these people have near death experiences, it's actual their spirit has left their body, rendering their body dead. Cause see, once the spirit leave out of it, it don't matter what they doing to your body, you ain't finna come back to life. So if you can consciously see what's going on in your with your body, your brain is inside of your body. Your brain ain't just floated up out of your body. What floated out your body was your conscious, your mind. So that is evidence. It's clear evidence. And this case is from all over the world. So these people ain't got together and say, yeah, we gonna tell this big lie and you tell it like this and tell it like that. You can find people German, French, Polish, Chinese. You can find people that actually didn't believe in God and they have these experiences and come back and say, I'm going to worship God. You have people that was Satan worshipers before they have this experience and come back and say that they will now worship God because they know that they mind, body, and soul are are all three different things at that point.
Are you saying that if I disconnect your brain from your body, you can still be conscious of your thoughts? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying
Uh,
that you could disconnect your physical brain. I'm saying you could disconnect your mind from your body. See, the brain is the thing that they show us when we study the human body. You know, the two little things that look like a bunch of chitlins. That's a physical brain. But what I'm saying is your thought doesn't come from your brain. It comes from your mind.
No, your thoughts.
That's
Your thought
now I
And
would
completely
have to
occupies the
disagree
and
brain.
with that a little
The
bit.
mind is.
Hold
but let me
on.
hit you with the Stevie one. Let me hit you with the Stevie Wonder divine. See, Stevie Wonder ain't never seen no colors because he blind. So
I
how the
got all
fuck
that,
can he
brother.
describe? How can he describe a color to you that he's never physically seen with his
Okay.
eyeballs? He
You
done
can
seen
he
those
used
imagine.
to
You
colors
can
in his mind.
hold on. Hold
not
on. You
he
can
used to see when he was little.
okay. Let me expound on this a little bit. It's no way that your memory is outside of the brain. And I'm gonna give you a breakdown. You have some people that have been in comas for a long time. And when they come out those comas, they don't remember anything. Okay. So that lets you know that the mind is connected to the brain because whatever portion of the brain is damaged is that part of the data that they have lost. They don't remember anymore. It works with
Mm-hmm.
Alzheimer's. Again, my mother had Parkinson's, okay? And certain parts of her brain was, it starts to shrink, it starts to damage, okay? So I said that your brain is a memory bank for your mental because you can have some areas of the brain that's damaged. You can remember some things and then you can forget some things, okay? So we cannot separate the mind from the brain. The brain is just a storage container for the mind. So I have seen many scenarios where a person is brain dead for a certain amount of time and they wake up, and due to certain damage on certain parts of the brain, they don't have that memory no more. So you can't separate the mind from the brain. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think to even add
Baby
on to
girl, you
this,
gotta too loud.
um,
But what
to
I want to say to that is, okay, boom. You said the mind can't be damaged and have memory. This is a first-hand experience.
I
My
didn't say
partner
the
got
mind. I
shot.
said brain damage, brother. Brain
Okay,
damage.
with
Have
the brain damage, I'm finna show you a case of brain damage. My partner got shot in his eyeball, point blank range. So from your eyeball straight back through the back of your head, they removed all of that brain matter. It's
okay,
gone.
right,
Okay, but when at the same time when he gains consciousness, this nigga calling me talking about bro, pull up, let's smoke a blunt, and this nigga ain't forgot
okay,
nothing.
okay.
He still
What part of the
sing in the
brain?
choir, everything. The
Okay, but
the
it's certain
whole
parts of the
the
brain.
whole now
It's
listen to what
certain.
I'm finna tell you. The whole left side of his brain is gone, Divine. This
Okay.
nigga head look like a ice cream scooper. It looked like you actually scooped all of that head out, right? And they had to reconstruct his face because that's how he was at first. Then they brung it back by making bones and shit. But the whole left side of this man brain, Divine, is
I got all that,
gone.
but that don't mean
And
that
he
the
and
major
he.
parts
No,
are
I'm
gone.
saying, listen.
You have a major
No, I'm
part of the
saying
brain, and I'm gonna tell you the major part of the brain. And if you was to strike that part,
You know,
you're
right there.
actually a done deal. I'm gonna tell you the major
again.
part of the brain.
Again, it's got to control something, Divine. We can't just say that we don't need the left side of
Okay,
our brain.
okay.
You know
It's
what I'm
called
saying?
the
That
cerebrum.
even
The cerebrum.
e-
Hold on, brother. I hear everything you're saying. I'm not disputing what you're saying. But it's a certain part of the brain that holds your memory, and it's called the cerebrum. Okay, and when that part is disturbed, you have a major problem. Okay, people have brain damage all the time, and all it would do is take away some things. Everybody is different, so I wouldn't disassociate the mind with the brain because the brain is nothing but just a memory bank of the mind. So the mind was never there before the brain. It's impossible because you have to store your data in your brain. Everything that you collect, remember, know from the time that you came out the womb. That is your
that's what
library.
I'm saying. You giving thought to Western train of thought when they tell you that your memory is located in a certain part of your brain, and then
And
they
it
turn around and
is.
tell
It
you that.
is.
But then, no, I'm saying the same people that tell you that they don't know where thought come from. So if they don't know where thought come from, it's not a stretch of imagination that they don't know where the fuck thought is stored. I'm still trying to figure out why
Thought
the
it,
left
it
Mhm.
side of this why
thought
the
could
left
be.
side of this man brain is gone, Divine. His brain on the left side is
That
gone.
doesn't mean
So
anything.
again,
It's not the main
no,
part of
no,
the
let me
brain,
finish.
though.
Let me finish. Okay, if it wasn't the main part of the brain, we can agree that the brain control bodily function. So if the whole left side of your fucking brain is gone, then something else supposed to shut down or fucking at least malfunction. What I'm saying is this man lost no malfunction of anything. He still go to the bathroom like normal. His hair and shit
Mhm.
grow. He still having
Okay, I
conversations
got
with
all
me.
that,
I
Mac
done
P. I
smoked a
think you
blunt with this
missing me.
man.
Things can
I
Nah, he
mean,
restore
don't.
what?
too.
So look,
Things can
hold on. Let me
restore
in there.
too. Go ahead,
Let
brother.
me in there. So look, Mac P is 100% right, right? Because some people are what brain dead,
Yeah,
right? Fucked up.
right.
Nigga missing his left brain. Nigga missing his right brain. But remember, you got four brains. The stomach serves as a brain. Your neocortex, which is your right hemisphere. Your
Mm-hmm.
mammalian, which is your left hemisphere, and your reptilian. That's four different brains, right? And they all
Thanks.
operate differently, right? But they work
Right.
as separate integral parts uh, to continue to make the whole work as a functioning body of different members of the body. Now, what MacP is explaining is right and exact, right? But watch this though. The manifestation of the mind is man. Man literally means mind as well as the word meant, right? That's why when you hear people, and I explained this earlier, when people say mental, right? When you break the word down, you get the ment and then you get the AL, which represents God. And if I was sitting in front of my
Mm-hmm.
pyramid text right now, I'll give another analogy or definition of what that L is. But that mental, that meant AL or mental is literally or transliteration to the mind of God. The expression of when you see a car, when you see a building, when you see a fucking mound, a moat, these are things that are shaped out of the mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody had a thought and was like, yo, I'm gonna make a car.
right? And we know everything has a process, but let's just speed up the process. So now we have cars today that came out of the mind. The brain is the stage, right? The dome and shit. That is the Madison Square. Then it's a stage in there where the actual person going to conduct its energy and its outflow on this stage, right? Whoever the performer is, right? It is where the brain and the mind are become synonymous with each other, though they are not one. It uses the brain to carry out its deeds. You know what I'm saying? It's a stage. It uses the mind to perform on. It uses the brain. So the mind is, we're going to say, which is the invisible or the creator. Once again, they go to mind of God. That is what the creator is, because we know that the right hemisphere is the creative side. The left hemisphere is the side that separates, segregates, analyzes, assesses, holds the four types of logic. But we know that the right side is the side that sees the oneness in everything. It's the artistic side. It's the empathetic side. It's the emotion side, right? When you're conjuring up thoughts, that is the side that forms everything. So the mind is, we don't know where it existed. When he just said that about thought, where does the thought go? And then you look at shit like carbon. We talked about this earlier. Carbon, which is melanin, has memory.
What's the
It
difference between
remembers.
thoughts and the mind?
Say it again.
What's the difference between a thought and the mind?
What's the difference from what?
What's the difference between the two? Are there any difference between human thoughts and the mind of a human?
Well, see, the
Yeah.
mind is the thought. You can't
Hold on,
have a
guys.
mind. You can't
Hold on.
separate
One second.
thought
One
and,
second. One
and,
second.
and
One second,
mind.
guys. Hey, uppercase D. Can you not? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You were smoking in the screen. Go ahead, Jesus, little brother.
Yeah, you can't
Oh,
separate thought and the mind. You
yeah, I'm
can't have
asking
a
the
thought
difference.
without a mind.
I'm
It ain't no
asking the
difference.
difference.
It
That's a
ain't no
fact.
difference between.
This
It
substantial
ain't no
difference.
difference, bro.
Yeah, the same thing.
That's something
Because
that
one is
can't be
abstract.
separated.
Okay.
Though it's abstract, we know that it is.
Mm-mm.
No, no.
I
I'm
totally
asking, are they
disagree
the
with
same thing?
that. It's a certain part of the brain that carries consciousness, which is the mind. And I don't care what you've done or what you've been through, long as it's not disrupted or destroyed, it will stay there. Okay. We know people have brain injuries, going to be brain dead, but if this certain part of the brain is not ruptured or disrupted, that memory bank can stay there. Unfortunately, some people have ruptures to that part. I forgot what it's called. I'm gonna get
But
to the
you
bottom of
notice,
that.
So,
but Divine, you notice they don't say, hold
is
on,
it
you
the
notice
spirit?
you know that they say
Hmm.
that, man, it's somewhere in the back of my brain. They say it's always in the back of my mind. They never
What's the
say that it's somewhere.
Right.
what's the base material
We
in
are, we
mind?
we we say it. We like bro saying we actually say it out of our mouth. We don't say it's in the back of our brain. It's something that's in our mind. We don't never say
That's
that.
right. Ever.
So
Okay.
consciously we know that the brain and thought is two different things, or the brain and the mind is two separate things. Everybody done seen on television where people again done had these near death experiences, and everything in their life flashed before them like a movie reel. Well, they be
Okay.
separated from their body. They be dead. So where does that thought come from if
The
it's
thing that
Mm,
shows
hidden in your actual brain?
Jesus, the thing
If
that
mm.
you
shows
kill the brain, then you should kill the thought, then, right?
Yeah,
and which
the thing
brain
that
is it?
Caruso
Because
speaks
like you,
about,
a
the,
nigga might be brain dead, but once your heart stop, that shit is over. It's game over.
Right.
yeah,
Right.
Okay.
your heart
So
can stop,
so
but
what is a man without a brain? What can you do without a brain?
They
You
call
can
you a
live
vegetable.
without the physical. You can live without the physical restrictions of your body. Cause see, we just a little lower than an angel, just because we're restricted by our body. Once you leave this weak ass flesh, you become just like God. You a spiritual being. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
but
no one ever
what is
experienced
funny,
that to attest that.
That,
What I'm saying, we speaking about what we know. We're not speaking of
that
past our
now don't,
imagination. What
no,
can you
don't act like
do?
you ain't, I ain't gave you
Okay,
the
hold on.
testimony of when I
We
died
I'm not
twice.
okay. We all done passed out before. I did as well. What I'm
No, I
telling
ain't
you
saying
is
I
this
passed
here.
out. I died
Okay,
twice.
brother, let's come on now. Listen. What can you do without your brain?
I just told you, when your spirit leaves your body holds your brain. I don't need that no more. Now I'm a spirit, and I'm free to do whatever I couldn't do that the physical body
That is
held me
not
back from.
okay. Y'all going into mystery land. I'm gonna mute up. Y'all go ahead.
what
Yeah,
Now,
is
see
also
what the
let's
what,
get
definition of a
let's
mind.
define
See,
let's define
I want
mind.
to say
Yeah,
this.
Let me
We
let
I
me
have
was,
to
read
bro.
this
just
real
You
get the
quick.
right on.
facts. We have
Yeah,
to
Let me
you
just
read
get
right
this
the
real
on
quick.
my.
facts,
Oh, bro,
not
because I had it right
The
experiences.
in front of
element.
me. Go ahead, God, about it.
No, you go
Uh,
ahead if you got it. You can go ahead and read
I
it
mean,
if you
Yeah,
got it.
if you got the
right. It
facts, my
said
brother, if you got the facts.
hold up, I'm finna
One
get.
second.
Hold up, let's break down.
Hold on.
Let's
Hold
break
on. One
down.
second, guys.
Well,
1 second. Soon as Jesus brother read the definition, we're gonna give the mic to Ben Wrong. Okay, Ben Wrong, you there? You good?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was just
yeah.
gonna add to Caruso
Come
because
on,
I know
bro. He
Caruso
said.
got it.
He said,
He got it.
bro. He just said. You know what I'm saying? Just let me read the definition, bro. So we'll know what we talking about, so it don't be no confusion. The definition of mind is the elements of a person that enables them to be aware of the world and their
Mm,
experience to think, feel, and the faculty of consciousness and thought.
mm.
Oh shoot,
A person's intellect.
that sounds like fucking that sounds like God to me if you ask me. That don't
That
have nothing
is
to do with
God, bro.
that ain't had nothing to do with the brain at all. This is
That's
like
not a
this
physical thing.
so give
man.
one
Oh, go ahead,
example.
Ben Wrong.
No,
Go ahead, Ben
I
Well,
Wrong.
was
I mean,
digressing to give it to
eh,
Caruso. I was just saying it can't be fantasy, but we're diving into something that I think we can expand on a little bit more if we have a little bit more patience instead of just kind of, looking at it as you experience this, but we can't show fact based only but what you say, but we need something to, you know, um,
Fact check.
fact check to make sure that this is real so we can all agree at some point.
Really,
Like
if we
Caruso.
do that, brother, then whoever proves that becomes the next Einstein in 2023 because science hasn't proven this yet. Science still battles back and forth with each other, debating each other about the mind and the brain.
All right. I was
So if
So
giving
any
so
it.
but
one of
now
you
we
brothers
know
can put some physical on it, then you a genius, bro. And you
that
finna
so
would
get the
be
now
Nobel
me.
Peace
Don't
Prize.
get me
Well,
You know
started.
what I mean?
I would say
That would
so
You
this
be
win
now
the
here.
me.
Nobel Peace Prize.
It's not about.
for
It's
the
about
mind,
using. It's about using
go
common
ahead, Divine.
sense. It's about using common sense. Let's use common sense here for a minute. What could you do without a brain as a human being? We ain't talking about all this supernatural spookism, none of that stuff. Let's stay focused on the human being.
Nothing.
We
Nothing.
know of people that been in.
You can
Hold
astro
up,
travel
I'm
without.
done. Okay, I'm done. Y'all got it.
Yeah, yeah, you can
I mean,
astro travel.
I want to see what you're like. I want to see what you're talking
See
about.
when you when you when
I
you
would
go
love
to
for you to
sleep.
show us what you're saying, instead of just talking. I would love to like one day turn the camera on, you lay down and you astroplane and we can see it if it's possible. But if you can't do that for us to see it, then I mean it's just mere conversation. But I mean, I
No, brother.
digress.
I'm finna lay down the facts. We astro plane every night when you go to sleep. Ain't you done fuck Beyonce or had $1 million or drove a Lamborghini or flew without a plane in your dream? Have you ever did something in your dream that you know that you can't do in reality? That's the traveling that I'm talking about right there, brother. I wasn't talking about the world definition. You know, I put my little own little spin on it. And we can all agree that a dream is not reality. So where the fuck do you be? Because we actually be in that fucking dream now. You see what I'm saying? I done woke up sometime looking for the keys for my Lambo until I realized, damn, okay, that was a fucking dream. But in my dream, I was really driving that Lambo. I was really in that motherfucking mansion. So where the fuck was I? Or where the fuck were you at in your dream world? It definitely wasn't nothing physical. It came out of your imagination, out of your will. It came out of your mind. See, the brain don't create no thoughts. The brain is used to give the body its function. That's the only thing that they can prove. Before you move your hand, your brain firing signals to your hand to move. Before you speak, you think and it becomes
You have to
word.
study the brain so
Yeah.
you won't sound like that right there. You sound totally wrong,
Uh,
bro, when you're in the brain.
brother, all you gonna do is tell us
You
to
sound
breathe
like a
12
student.
times a minute. Go ahead, bro.
I mean, I'd rather have SMG explain it better than that. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah,
I
I
mean, if you
wanted
Can't
to do
gonna,
this
live
other
without
brother,
kind of.
All right, so
energy is
guys,
brother,
words, bro.
brother, if you gonna correct me. Don't just say, hey, just keep saying you wrong, you wrong, you wrong, 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 you wrong. No, nigga, get up here and prove me wrong.
You okay?
all
So
right,
You
so
are,
guys,
I
let's do
mean,
this right
because
here.
if we are trying to have a conversation about humans, not no supernatural, all this mystery stuff. We speaking as humans of people we have
Humans are
seen
supernatural.
through. Can I
let her
Hold
please
talk.
on.
speak without being interrupted?
yeah, he wanted people to respect him, but he don't really respect everybody else. This is crazy.
That
Again,
was bad English, bro.
Yeah, that's cool.
Go ahead, Divine.
we have all seen scenarios where people have Alzheimer's, where their brains, chemicals, different things, even as well as brain dead. Okay. When these people come out the coma, they can't remember certain things, but eventually, as their brain repair, they can start to remember things. It's no way you can separate the mind from the brain. If that's the case, we can live without a brain. What is the purpose of a brain? Okay. So it's no one out here living without a brain. This shouldn't always go into God, the Bible, and all that stuff. I want to have a conversation outside God and the Bible. We're talking about human beings, okay? Us here. How could you have a mind without a brain? Let's make it make sense.
All right, so and writing on that, I'm about to unmute people's mic. So let's get back to the scientifical, like we were trying to explain. We were trying to
Yes.
all gather up information
Thank you,
about
please.
about the the rocks, okay, the energy, how the energy it cannot produce electricity, but it can hold a charge. Okay, so we're in this area, and somehow or another we sprang it all the way up to where we talk about God, and I know I said that the mind is God, that we were describing what we're talking about, but breaking it all the way back down to where we're saying the scientific aspect of the brain and the mind. Okay, we're trying to explain that, not with spirituality. but we're trying to explain it with science, plain simple science, maybe some mathematics, and that's where we're at. So let's kind of like steer the conversation back there because divine had us going somewhere, but we all like got over
We
here
got
and over
away
there.
from it. We got
Yeah.
away from what we were speaking about. Thank you, brother.
Brother, again, you said when I gave the definition of the mind, you, the host, out of your mouth, you
I
said
did.
that there was
I
God.
said that. Yes, I did.
So again, can I finish, brother? So I
Yes, I did.
expounded on what you said. See, that's how a conversation roll. Don't nobody just force no conversation, and we're gonna talk about this, and we're gonna keep things in the box because at this point we saying that we don't know, right, people? So if we don't know, what a logical person does is a thing called brainstorming. And when you brainstorm, ain't no bad thoughts in the brainstorm because you still at the point where you trying to figure things out. Now, if you want to stick me in a box of science, then you still dealing with a scholar at that too, because I went to college. I had to graduate in the science class. Okay. And when you deal with science, water boils at 98 degrees Celsius. Water freezes at 32 degrees Celsius. That's something that they have experiment on. You can repeat it. You could do it at your grandmama house. Now, when you talk
Okay.
about the mind and the brain, as far as science has got to the mind and the brain, is they do not know how either one of these mechanisms really work because it's always a exception to the rule. Just like Divine said, people that's in a brain dead, a coma, they wake up and don't remember something. That don't speak for all people because you have people that actually be brain dead in a coma and tell you about everything that happened to them while they were supposedly brain dead or in a coma. So that leads us to, as a people with imagination and brain, to wonder what's really going on here. You
Depends
can't
on
stick
what type of
information in a box.
Okay.
depends
So
on what
now
type of coma.
I know I
What type
said that. I know I said that because I said it sounds like God. Yes, I know. And I did say that when everybody was on mute. All right. So we're getting us back to the energy, okay? The energy that's in the atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? This is where we're trying to get back to. So it's not about um if it's the God part of it, because we've all been talking, but we're trying to
Yeah, I
get the
digressed
conversation
on that.
back. Oh, it's cool. It's cool. But it's
Okay,
But see,
trying to
guess
get us
what?
back.
Guess what, God,
Hold,
about
hold,
it? This the
hold on.
science is just as much speculation as God
All
is.
right.
Because again, we
All right.
don't
So
know. Ain't none of us
hold
scientists.
on. Hold on now. Hold on. Let me finish. So we're trying to get back. We're trying to get back to our build. Okay. We're not talking about. We're not should be talking about God, and we should not be talking about like spirituality because it's leading us away from understanding how energy is working, how the electricity is working, and how these stones are operating. You know what I'm saying? This is where we're trying to like stay so everybody can have that understanding of science before we bring in spirituality or talk about God. Correct. Go ahead, Divine.
Well, you brung it
okay.
in, bro. I
So
did.
when you
I
speaking
know
about
that. I not
comas,
said that. You don't have to keep saying it, brother.
you
No, I'm
have
saying you
different.
telling me not to do it. I was just responding to what you said. But y'all go
Hey,
ahead,
Okay.
bro. Fuck.
Okay,
can I
God
bring this
body.
conversation to
I'm about to
reality
say
real
this
quick before
guy.
y'all get off
Okay,
balance?
Hold on. Listen, listen,
Right.
listen, listen.
we need to
Divine has the mic.
relax.
Divine
Okay,
has the mic.
when you're speaking about comas, you have different types of comas. So yes, some people can tell you some things that has taken place in a coma. Then you have some comas that's a little more serious to where they can't remember shit. So when we speaking about comas, we got to speak of the different type of comas because it's a lot of different type of comas. Okay, they have medication that will put you in a coma, that will make you hallucinate, see things, hear things. You're just in a coma until they do what they need to do medically to restore whatever brain thing, whatever surgery is going on. So it's different type of comas. So we don't want to call it no astral projecting or out of body experience, because if you are being medicated and sedated into a coma, at this point, you can hallucinate, you can hear things. It's just you're being sedated until the surgery is taking place. Then you have other comas, natural comas, that can leave you brain dead. You never seen a person brain dead that comes out of coma can tell you anything, but eventually their brain can repair and they can start to remember things, because again, your brain is an organ, it can repair. Okay, so it's different type of comas. Let's speak about that. But it's no way you can separate the mind and the mental from the brain. Without the brain, you don't have a mind and you don't have a mental. How can you be conscious without a brain? It's impossible.
I think with the conscious part of it, we still do not know with certainty. There are some people that actually hold to the view that even non-living things kind of like conscious in their own within their own nature. They are actually conscious within, and somehow conscious within the laws of physics, and somehow works within those physical parameters. But I think the mind and the brain, I don't really see what Jesus was trying to do. We talk about near-death experience where people, somehow had visions of stuff. They did that with their brains. Their brains were there. You take their brains out, there would be no experience, and there would be no story to tell. So I don't know why he keeps on trying to separate them. But I think the mind is not equals consciousness. I think to be the I mean that universal type of consciousness is it's quite deeper and quite a little bit different from the mind. But for human minds, we know very well that it's for memory, not just memory, but to be able to forget. That's part of human mind as well. Jordan Peterson here is one of the best psychologists. He said the greatest miracle that's ever happened to human mind is the ability to forget. So forgetfulness is actually a very powerful thing. That's part of human mind as well, and not just memory and to forget as well, but also to somehow have projections of what might happen in the future. These are all mind stuff, and these mind stuffs are actually based on pre-programmed information that has been received by the brain. So I'm still waiting for him to like come up and like give us something solid, that actually tells that sure there is some kind of separation between the human mind, the brain. And I think if there is anything contingent on the other, I think the human mind begins when the brain actually begins to function. I think so. So when it's dead, then there's no point in having a human mind because you can't really have an experience of your own thought if your brain doesn't exist. So,
Okay.
I think we were talking about sound and vibration. I don't know how we got to that point. Oh, they were saying that thought was vibration. In a sense, I can agree with SMG on that. I do believe thought is vibration.
mm,
I do. Um,
well,
what do you
for me,
guys think?
I,
Do you
I
think
don't.
thought is vibration?
No, not at all. I think vibration is actually very physical. We still yet to figure out like metaphysical things that actually vibrate. We don't have any data on that from the science world. Empirically, also, we haven't experienced any form of metaphysical construct vibrating. So I think vibration is purely a physical thing. Um, when you talk about waves, you talk about the frequencies of those waves. You talk so even if you go back into, the quantum world, I think it's purely physical, including the energy we describe in the physics classrooms. They are all physical stuff. So it, I agree that to the vastness of what we experience existentially from the ontological perspective, I mean in the physical realms that we live in, most definitely vibrations is it's basically the foundation to the core existence of the physical world itself. But then I don't think it has anything in the spiritual or the metaphysical sense. And I think the things that don't really vibrate probably are much more even deeper than the ones that actually vibrate. So when I hear most of the people somehow projecting the idea of, the high frequencies here and there, and the low frequencies, and we all have to vibrate in a higher frequency and blah blah blah. Probably I am misunderstanding them, but if um, I'm hearing exactly what they are saying, I think probably um, they don't really take vibrations that much serious. Because it's very clear. We can test vibrations. We know what vibrations are. We know when we have energy moving through space, they create those ripples, and we can actually map out the wavelengths. We can have a map to identify the movements of these energy through space, and that's what vibration actually is, right? And that kind of physical phenomenon, which we can put, we can put equations on them. We can basically quantify them in mathematical terms. I think these are physical stuff, and I don't know why
Okay.
people still somehow spiritualizing it and making it look like something metaphysical. But I think something like the laws of
I
physics,
have to
yeah,
disagree with that. I think every
but
thought, I think all thoughts have vibration to it. I'm sorry.
oh, okay.
Hmm. I would have to
I
A
agree.
think
I would
thought
have
the
to.
to have
the thoughts
I
are
would
some
have. I would have to
vibrational
agree.
frequency. It has to have
I,
some vibrational frequency. I'm sorry. Thought
hmm.
has vibration.
it does. It does. It definitely does.
So what's the
It's it's
frequency
it's
of a unit of thoughts?
it's being it's wrapped up in the electrical current, also in electricity too.
No, the
That's how.
electrical
That's
current
why.
carries the electrical
Yes, that's
information.
because. Listen,
So
listen, listen, bro.
okay, go ahead.
Listen. In order to get your, in order for you to get your finger to move, in order to get you to talk into the screen to other people in a projection, the information has to come from your brain and is generated and passed through the electrical current. So there is a vibration to that thought.
Yeah, the vibration carries the information. That's why it's called vibrational information. The information is just separate from the vibration, right? So you can say that the information itself is metaphysical or spiritual or whatever. But it's not like the information itself is vibrating. So it's just the relationship between like the universe and the laws of physics. The laws of physics itself is not moving. They are definition. They are minds. They are things. They are mind things, right? And they shape the physical reality we live in. So, for example, if you study the equations on vibrations, the equation is metaphysical. The equations are actually the laws of physics, right? And those things you can say they are spiritual or they are thought things or they are things that transcend the physical. But the physical thing itself, which is vibration, it has nothing to. So the information is not vibrating. It's the medium that is carrying the information. That's what's vibrating. It's not the
Let
information
me
itself.
let me share this with you. Let me share this with you real quick.
Right.
An earthquake, okay? Earthquake, it brings forth a sound, right? And then it brings forth that vibration. Now, it's okay for us to see it differently in different circumstances because it's in certain circumstances it's the total opposite. So this is where we have to make the determination which way we're gonna see it and how we're gonna use it. And if we're gonna build something at the end of this life, we all want to be able to say, okay, this is energy, this is electricity, this is sound, this is our mind, this is thought, this is how this rock holds a charge. Um, we want to be able to bring a definition to the whole conversation. So when we complete the live, everybody can walk away and say, okay, damn, I can start using this shit in other aspects of my life and in other conversations. You see what I'm saying? So we're trying to make it like real simple and real plain. So let's bring it back to this rock. How does this rock hold a charge if there's no electrical current that flows through it?
Yeah, that's quite easy. The rock itself is electrical. It's electrical, right? Every physical thing is actually vibrated. I think probably you have a very fair idea of quantum world, right? So when you study the Heisenberg principle, you come to realize that nothing is actually stable. Everything is vibrating, infinite, infinitively, right? But the patterns of the vibrations is what defines what that thing is. So that's the idea of frequencies. The frequencies of the vibrations is what shapes reality in different folds, right? So it's nothing really different. But my point is that the vibration carries
Here,
information.
let me share this. Let me share this. Let's go. Let's take it. Let me take you back a little bit further. Let's
Okay,
go
go ahead.
back to the triple black darkness. Okay.
Say that
Let's
again?
go back to the triple black. Let's go back to the triple black darkness. Okay.
Ooh. Uh,
And let's start from there. Because when you start from there, then you're going to have to define everything that comes to existence. And then one of the first things I know that came into existence from the triple black darkness is light.
Well, we still don't really know that. Um, I think reality goes way deeper than just light, like most people say. We know some of the basic characteristics or properties of light. We know in every second, light travels about 186,000 miles, right? We know that so far is the fastest velocity we have, right? As in as in the fastest velocity that has been detected so far by the equations we have, right? But there are a lot of theories that actually postulate something completely way, way, way too much than just light. So I'm still finding it difficult. Maybe if you take light for example, right? Whether you define it based on light being a photon or whether light being whatever definition you put on light itself, what you come to realize that that physical phenomenon contains information. Now, the information itself is what defines what the light actually is. And I'm saying that information doesn't necessarily vibrate. So vibration, like you can have thoughts that thoughts doesn't necessarily have to vibrate. Like the intensity of the mappings, the graphs or whatever, those things doesn't necessarily have to like vibrate. But the physical phenomena has to do with it. The light, the photon itself, yeah, most definitely have to. That's what I'm saying that whatever you take physical is vibrating. But the non-physical part of the thing, which actually defines the thing, which is the real information that that whether you want to call it consciousness or whatever, is not really vibrating. It's on a steady.
Okay.
So, right.
Okay. So the light,
Mhm.
okay, is a wavelength.
Okay. Yeah, we most definitely,
Would you agree?
most
Would you
definitely.
agree?
Hmm.
Okay, so a wavelength, okay, you have to have a firm understanding what a wavelength is. Okay,
Mhm.
all right, okay. Now, if a wavelength, okay, is it's like it's measuring a distance, okay, from one point to another point, sound wave. So that right there, when you look at wavelength, if color is a wavelength, then that means that whatever's producing that color has to be a force behind it.
Yeah, and
Uh-huh.
I think that
So
that
now,
force itself.
so now this light, so now
Mhm.
this light, okay, it's not just a glare. It is actually a wavelength is being seen and visualized through a wavelength. And if there's a wavelength, there's motion.
The way you're using the wavelength thing, like, can you define that? Because the wavelength I know probably. What do you mean when you say wavelength? What is too like
Wavelength is
what's so functional about the wavelength? In this context.
okay. So let's look at a wave, okay? And let's look at a wavelength. The
Mhm.
wavelength is actually measuring, it's giving you a measurement, okay, of whatever is going through the atmosphere. Wavelength, because you have different wavelengths, okay, our colors are being displayed to us in different wavelengths, okay?
In,
So in order for there to be a wavelength, right?
mhm,
Right? You with me? It has to
mhm.
be some motion. So when that sunlight goes to shine forth, guess what? That light that's coming from the sun, it's got a force behind it. Inside
Yeah,
of that light is information. Now, I mean, we might end up getting into fiber optics a little bit, but that that light that you're looking at has information in it.
yeah,
Everything
but
interrelates. Everything interrelates with everything in this universe. So
mhm,
the more that we try to separate it and pick it apart, and we say, well, okay, well, sound is this and light is this, but in but in reality, but in but in reality, okay, it all interlocks and interlinks with each other. So if this sun is giving off this light, and we know there's information in the light itself, in any light, so that we know that it's got to be moving, it's either vibrating, something's going on to where we create a wavelength. And wavelength is just a measure of like the speed of something. Wavelength,
uh,
right?
what
Are you with
this
me?
okay? I'm really with you, and I think
Yeah, I'm
we
here,
agree on a
brother.
lot of things
What'd you
until
say, Divine?
Now I said I'm with you. I'm listening.
uh,
So,
we
so
agree
it
that light carries information. You and I agree on that. We agree that
okay.
vibration carries information. The differences between both of us is that I believe that the information itself is not vibrating, right? And you said,
You say information. You said
okay,
information is no. You say vibration is no information, or is it information? I didn't hear you right.
okay. So this is what I mean. That the information lies within whatever substance is vibrating, whether You have energy moving through space, creating sound or creating forceful vibration or whatever. Because when energy moves through things, that's what when vibrations are made, right? So I agree with you that light carries information, and in fact, the mobile phone you're using right now is a clear example of that. Light can carry a lot of information. I agree with you, but I'm just saying that the information itself is not. It's just the the software of the hardware. So the light itself is the hardware which carries the information, right? So information itself doesn't necessarily have to vibrate. The thought itself doesn't have to vibrate. But yeah, your senses, your brain, you know, what your physical components which understand vibrations are always vibration and entangling with other vibrations. That's what I'm saying. That you don't human vibration, and so far we don't have any experience like that. We don't have any empirical
Okay.
data on the fact that human thoughts vibrate.
Okay. So Angry Man had his hand up for a while.
Hmm.
Okay, just to put a little thought into the whole thing. We're on wavelengths, right? So a wavelength has to be related in some capacity close to a substance called water. We're born through water. So this thing is traveling through time and space, lightness and dark. It's a it's almost like a conscious energy. Can an energy be conscious?
I think energy carries information,
I'm
but
done. I'm just trying to put a
the
little.
the energy we
So,
describe in the physics
so
classroom cannot be conscious. It's very limited.
okay.
It's
So what we're doing is it's not that we're trying to figure out consciousness. We're just trying to make a better understanding of these rocks. These rocks, the energy that's in the atmosphere. That when we start to understand what's in the atmosphere, it helps us understand why this rock holds a charge, but there's no electrical current that it provides.
energy is always somehow neutral, in a stable state of being. So the only time energy becomes charged is when it moves. So when you stir the water, you realize that the ripples on the face start moving. You can see energy actually moving through space. We don't know what energy is. That's the first thing. We can't, so far, we haven't been able to like scientifically test energy.
Yeah, we did.
But
We broke this down. We broke this down the other day. What energy is? We're able to break down what energy is.
no, give me the equation. There's nothing like that. We only know the properties of energy. But so if you want to, for example, understand energy, we don't know what it is. So we study the vibrations. And for you to really understand what the vibration means, you have to study the patterns
Wait a minute.
and
Wait a
the
minute.
modes.
But you got to speak for yourself. You got to speak for yourself because
No,
you may not know what energy is and where it
just give
comes
me
from.
one research.
But
Give me one research
some of
from
us do.
any physical lab.
Some of us do know.
Which research so far are you talking about?
So here,
Just
let me say something. Let me say something. Answer
go ahead.
this question for me.
Hmm.
Why does a rock hold a charge but doesn't produce electrical current,
No,
electricity?
the because the rock itself is energy. On the quantum level, it's energy. You are fully loaded. Your physical body is actually energy. So it's
No,
neutralizing
no,
the
no. See,
state.
you're no, you're missing it. You're missing it.
Probably like
We
missing it.
know that
Oh,
everything in this universe, we know that everything in this universe is energy. We know
mm.
this. But I'm saying to you, there you have water, you have rocks, you have people, you have dirt, you have grass. Okay? Wasn't it about this rock that it only holds a charge? And if it's laying down on the ground for 200 years, where does that charge come from? that's in that rock. Now we know if we pick that rock up and we hold that rock or do something with that rock, with the ability to take the charge from the rock, we know that that rock doesn't have a charge anymore. But when we lay that rock back down on that ground, it's going to pick up another charge. When you hold it in your hand, that rock is going to hold a charge, the charge from the electricity that flows through your body. This is what we're talking about. This is what we're trying to get into. We're trying to get into, where does that energy come from? Where does that the not the energy, but where does the electricity, where does that come from, that that rock can actually hold a charge? And some of the rocks sparkle. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
We're trying to bring it back to our original conversation. It's helping us understand. We're not talking about spirituality and God, and we're talking about the energy that this rock, that the charge that this rock holds.
So, what's the charge of a normal rock when it's on the ground? What volt are you putting on it? How many voltage?
What's up, Lucky?
What's good, bro?
Yeah, so we got into a little build earlier, and it got mixed up and sidetracked. We started talking about spirituality, God, and